Alexander was born in Pella, Macedonia, the son of Philip of Macedon, who was an excellent general and organizer. His mother was Olympias, princess of Epirus. She was brilliant and hot-tempered. Alexander inherited the best qualities of both his parents, but even more ambitious than his father. Alexander's mother taught him that Achilles was his ancestor and that his father was descended from Hercules. Alexander learned by heart the Iliad, a story about the deeds of Achilles. He carried a copy of the Iliad with him, and Achilles became Alexander's model. Even as a boy, Alexander was fearless and strong. He tamed the beautiful and spirited Bucephalus, a horse that no one else dared to touch or ride. Later, this famous steed carried him as far as India, where it died. When Alexander was 13 years old, he became the pupil of Aristotle. He was always eager to learn. Aristotle inspired the talented youth with a great love for literature. Aristotle also inspired in Alexander a keen interest in other countries and races of people, and in animals and plants. Alexander was 20 when he became king of Macedonia. The Greek, other states, had gone restless under Macedonian rule. The ambitious young king then turned his thoughts to conquering Persia. This had been part of his father's plan before him. He crossed the Hellespont with an army of 35,000 soldiers. In 33 BC, Alexander marched along the coast into Syria. The king of Persia, Darius III, raised a large army. He fortified a riverbank near Issus behind Alexander. Alexander turned north and routed the Greek and Persian heavy infantry with his flanks. He captured the king's camp, including Darius' wife and mother. His gallantry toward them was his finest act. Alexander then marched south into Phoenicia and captured Tyre after a 7-month siege. Alexander's victory over Tyre is sometimes considered his greatest military achievement. Alexander founded a city on the strip of the land between Lake Maretis and the Mediterranean Sea. This city, Alexandria, became a world center of commerce and learning.
Alexander turned again to the Persian front in 331 BC. Darius had collected an enormous army, including the famous heavy cavalry of the Iran steppe, and many chariots with scythe-like knives protruding from the wheels. The Persian cavalry outflanked Alexander's left and captured his camp, but with a charge which he led himself, Alexander routed Darius, and the Persian army retired to the east. The Battle of Arbela is also known as the Battle of Gaugamela. It is considered one of the most decisive battles in history. The city of Babylon surrendered, and Alexander easily captured the Persian cities of Susa and Persepolis. These cities yielded him vast treasures of gold and silver. All the inhabitants of Persepolis were either killed or sold into slavery. Alexander burned down Persepolis in revenge for the Persian burning of Athens in 480 BC. Alexander crossed the Zagros Mountains into Medina in 330 BC. Darius had fled there and was soon afterwards killed by his own nobles. His death left Alexander king of Asia. He entered Bactria and Sardiana behind the Hindu Kush mountain range and marched as fast as the Haxardes River. It took 2 years to pacify the region. Alexander reinforced his troops with Aryans and reached the rich plains of India in 326 BC. He defeated an Indian prince, Porus, in this region, now part of Pakistan, and planned to march to the Ganges River. Alexander had vast plans, including his governmental reorganization and an expedition to Arabia, but he was taken very seriously ill with malaria at Babylon. The simple remedies of the day did not help him. He died on June 13th, 323 BC. His body was placed in a gold coffin and taken to Memphis in Egypt. Later, it was carried to Alexandria and placed in a beautiful tomb.